Yeah. Okay, so right here we got our premiere project. We got our premiere project. You'll see this is the video we're going to be using right here, Mike Johnson. The first thing you're going to do is just make a new sequence with your project or with your clip. And then what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate it a bunch of times just so we don't have to, instead of looping it, we're just going to play. I'll pretty much put it for 20, 30, depending on how long you want to be projecting for. Just for the sake of this video, we'll put it at, that's 20 minutes. Okay. So at the beginning of your sequence, what you're going to do, and this is for the people who want to learn how to map, essentially. What we do is new item, I'm going to grab a color mat. Okay, I'm going to make it white. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that down into the beginning of the sequence. I'm going to move everything over so it's after it, okay? So we have a color mat and then we have a string out of 20 minutes of our video. So then I'm going to take this color mat and I'm going to go to opacity. I'm going to grab essentially I'm going to turn it into a white square. So I'm going to do 4 pins. You'll see what we're doing in a sec here. Okay. And then what's going to happen is I'm going to hit invert. That essentially just gives us a white square. And this is what we're going to use to orient our image on a wall so it's actually skewed to the wall. So after we have that at the beginning of our sequence, I hit A and then just highlight everything in the sequence. Then we're gonna nest this so it's its own one file. It's gonna have the square and then a series of 20 minutes of the looping video. So from here, we're gonna grab the corner pin effect. I'm gonna throw it on here. And then when you're in effect controls, you can see we can skew the entire video by grabbing a corner and moving it around. So once we put this up on the wall, it'll probably be skewed a little bit. So to make the square, essentially we just want to recreate a perfect rectangle on the wall before we start projecting. This way we're not, giving away, trying to skew with the image. It's a lot easier if you just have a square. So we're going to do this. A lot of times what we like to do is drop the opacity down on the entire sequence, just so when we're setting everything up, we're not, it's not super bright, to keep everything on the DL essentially. Okay. So now that we're pretty much good to go, we're plugged in. Well, let's kind of show you our setup real quick. We got our Epson EX11000. We've created this mount to go on a C-stand so we can adjust pan and tilt. But for a very long time, we would just have it propped up either in the back of our car, pointing out of a window, or on the roof of our car. This allows us to pan and tilt. But for most people who don't have this setup, I would just recommend getting something tall enough to reach to the top of your window and that you can place it on, and then maybe some extra bags or something that you can kind of prop it up and angle it in whatever angle you want. So we got our projector, we got an HDMI cord going out the back, right? We have the power cable running to our camping battery. This is an EcoFlow, Yeti EcoFlow 700 Goal Zero. You can see it here. This puppy will let you run for about 2 hours with these prosumer projectors. Yeah, so this is on. Obviously, a lot of people aren't gonna. This is probably the one thing that a lot of people don't have is a camping battery. I would recommend, you know, if you're getting serious about it, you're gonna want these. This runs about 400 to 500 bucks from REI, but you know, for a while we had, you know, we would find outlets that we could run extension cables to. So if you aren't looking to get like a battery powered setup and you just want to partake and do a project without that, I would just find, you know, it's going to limit probably where you can do it, but find somewhere with an outlet. I repeat, do not try to get a converter that plugs into your car. You will blow the fuse in your car. They don't have enough power to pull for a projector. And then we have the HDMI cable going out of the back of the projector into a HDMI adapter. That is something to make sure is that you have your screen layout use a separate display and not mirror. You got to make sure you're on use a separate display. And then when you're in your Premiere settings, you're gonna go to preferences, playback, and you just got to make sure that all of these are checked. That'll make sure that it's using your projector as like a separate monitor, essentially. So we're gonna fire this bad boy up. Just make sure. Oop, yep. Take a relative guess about where we're gonna go with it here.
Oh, yeah.
But we go into our hand and you can see that I could see that it's the square that's showing up on the screen. So we like to make sure it's up on that before we kind of show it here. You know, just make sure that the image is showing up. And as you can see up there, can you see the square up there? Yeah. So what we're gonna do now is go to corner pin, and we're gonna start adjusting to make the square look like a rectangle. And you can do a lot of this by eye. And that's pretty close right there. Okay. We're feeling good about it?
Fire away.
So what you're going to do is you turn your opacity back up to 100.
Do that again. Go back up. Yeah.
So 40 to 100. And hit play. But there, yeah. So we're going to play it. There's also like once you're in here, there's a little like. And now we see the actual image. It's not.
A little out of focus, projector wise.
Yeah. Focus. It looks a little bit
What?
stretched this way.
You can make it maybe contrast here.
Yeah.
It's reading well though. Is that 100?
There we go. Seems a little bit stretched, so I'm gonna bring in both of these. Pretty good.
Yeah, focus it up just a hair. Yeah, maybe it doesn't need to be contrast here.
I mean, I put it at full contrast. Let this bad boy rip.
Fire away.